everybody, and welcome to this month's SofaTalks. I'm Monique, the Cultural Engagement Officer for SupportU. And today I have my wonderful guest, Rob, has joined me today. And he is one of the founders for BlkOut UK, which is a community development organisation run for and by Black queer men. So Rob, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Monique, and everyone. I'm Rob. You've just stolen my line. That's what I do.
I'm sorry.
No, so I've been trying to think about community development and work on racial justice for a long period of time, and now I focus on BlkOut and how we can have a voice that is meaningful to us rather than just a kind of echo chamber. Telling the same story, telling all our diverse stories, and putting them to our use, owning our narratives for once.
Okay, fantastic. And so can you just tell us a little bit about BlkOut? Like, for those of our audience who don't know, where are you based? How did it start? What are your main focuses?
Yeah, so I think it started from just a thought, really, that I've been working for a long period in quite senior roles in media and in public policy. Had never worked with another Black queer man, and I'd always held them at the centre of my work. But it felt as if that was such a kind of lonely experience. So it was about, can we come together and create something from this effort that I know is being made already? If we could bring it together, could we make it more powerful? So we bring people together, start sharing ideas and talking. The idea is that creates an agenda that's about us and for us, rather than something imposed from externally.
Oh, fantastic! And where are you based, and where do you cover? Like London? Is it London, or do you cover the whole of the UK?
Well, the UK is the ambition.
Yeah,
in the name, certainly. But we started in Brixton and around South London. But really, the idea has been: can we connect people digitally? Can we build communities that make sense for us, rather than things that we might have inherited as a sense of what community can be and can only be. We haven't got a neighbourhood, right? So we can't say Brixton or Southall or
yes, of course,
or or Brick Lane, which have a vibe, but we are everywhere. So how do we create community digitally, or even in reality, that would kind of be a space where we could be creative between us?
Yeah, it's wonderful that you're able to use, the digital world to bring people together and to bring Black queer men together. What would you say is some of your most successful campaigns or ventures that has happened within BlkOut?
Yeah, so when we can meet, so the pandemic kind of threw us sideways, like everybody. When we can meet, we have a monthly event called Black Men Who Brunch, and that's where about up to 100 of us kind of come together, have brunch. There's a workshop or two that we share skills at. Follow that with some entertainment and music, a kind of topical panel. A whole kind of extravaganza of a day. So every last Sunday of the month, we do that. We get together and have that kind of breaking of bread together. So yes, that's been a bit of a roller coaster, but actually getting that in place has been really, really quite special.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's so important to have community at the forefront of everything we do, and to be able to bring people together. There's so much healing and happiness that can take place. So that's, that's wonderful.
And hopefully stuff that's kind of fun, right? So
Yes.
so we have a live band. It's not just a kind of the kind of dry kind of workshop kind of experience. There's kind of music and live singing and some fun, some joy.
Oh, fantastic. And what kind of workshops go on?
So we've had workshops on filmmaking. We've had ones on starting up a small business. We've had ones on personal finance, consent. We've been looking at solidarity with our trans brothers and sisters. So just a whole kind of range of different things that people have suggested and come forward with and said, I'd like to start a conversation about X, or I'd like to. You should be thinking more about Y.
That's really what struck me most about BlkOut when I came across your organization, because I just love how it involves the service users, the community members. It's really shaped by them, basically run for them, by them, and I think that's really wonderful. You've done some great things.
I guess it's always going to be we, right?
Yes,
Which I think has one of its powers, right?
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. You mentioned before that, things got a bit tricky during the pandemic, obviously with the face-to-face meetings. How have you been combating that and making sure people are supported?
Well, so we were trialing really our app. But once the pandemic had kind of, once it's clear we're going to be on lockdown for long periods, we pushed forward on the kind of promotion of that and kind of enabled it to everybody. And trial and error. Trying to learning how to use this stuff as you go along. We put on club nights. We put on a regular kind of. So every week there was a kind of check-in, so we could a group of people come together and just talk about stuff. Ranging from dating tips through to heritage and kind of more serious topics, but also just some stuff for fun.
Oh, cool. So when you were when all of you guys were developing BlkOut, is it that you recognized there was a need for safe space and a space specifically for Black queer men?
And not in a kind of defensive way.
No.
Really in a kind of, okay, so what could be generative, what could be creative from us coming together and sharing that experience, rather than performing that experience over and over for being the one Black person in the LGBT space, or the one out person in the Black space. Can get quite tiring. So just a little corner of the internet, a little corner of space for us. So we've been going with a kind of byline, making space for us. That's really been kind of the driver.
As you said, it can be exhausting, especially trying to navigate the intersectionality of, being a Black, gay man, queer man, trans, bisexual. It can get quite.
And people seem to know your story for you. They kind of tell you, this is how you are, isn't it? Because that's how you must fit. For them to make sense of the other identities that they've decided on. So that gets quite tiring. If you're too Black to be gay, you're too gay to be Black, or too, all that. Really, just that denial of people's agency. There is a way of being Black and gay, and it's this way. and get used to it. You know.
I love that. Yeah. You mentioned, Rob, before that you BlkOut were doing some more focused consideration and work with our Black trans, brothers and sisters. Can you talk a little bit more on that?
Well, surprisingly little, actually. I think that's
Yeah.
why we're doing this work.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we have often been a groups of people that have been told that they're together, but have yet to meet and have a conversation. So more spaces for those kind of conversations seems like a good thing. Not to question each other's identity, but just to learn from each other. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more about yourself, Rob. So, what was your background, professionally, and before you came to start or co-found BlkOut?
So I've been kind of around social justice work for a while. So I got my PhD in education, so I looked at the experience of children excluded from school
Right.
for my PhD. I did a short stint in the civil service and then joined the Runnymede Trust. So, which is a 50-year-old racial justice think tank. That I can say this now because they've got the brilliant current leaders who are kind of the foremost voice in terms of analysis of racial justice that impacts on public policy. So really engaged policy work, which was my dream job. I did that. I had a dream. It was wonderful, but all good things must come to an end. And moved on. Spent some time at the BBC, and had was starting to develop a kind of range of different experiences with chairing other charities and things like the NAS project, or being on the board of Stonewall, having learning loads from that process.
Yeah.
And it seemed natural to want to do something finally, having been working on these big institutions like Oxford and the BBC and others, to do something for my brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So as we're coming towards the end now of Black History Month, just wanted to touch on that a little bit with you. What are your personal thoughts about Black History Month? Your personal experiences, and then as BlkOut as an organisation, have you been having any special events or campaigns throughout October?
Yeah, I mean, well, Black History Month is an opportunity, right, rather than a straight. So it should just intensify the work you do on kind of remembering,
Yes, yeah.
rather than be the only time you do it. But we had spent September really celebrating Pearl Alcock, who was a Black bisexual woman who ran a clandestine bar on the front line in the heart of Brixton in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so we've been talking about Pearl. We had a new bar named after her. And we did a Vogue ball in her honour in Brixton Market. So in the market itself. So we've had and that for me is a way of celebrating heritage, right? Not in a kind of telling people off for what they know and not know, but much more in a kind of, here's somebody who would celebrate. Let's celebrate.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about her and bringing her name back to people's lips. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I did read some a little bit about that on your website. It looks like a fantastic venture. So and you did that in September.
Yeah, September, but it overspilled into into October.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why I'm like exhausted in terms of in terms of energy. But you know, having a bit of a break this week and be raring to get back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, I really liked what you said about, with Black History Month, it shouldn't be just focused, kind of on that month. It should be just highlighting the stuff that you're already doing. And, I really,
Well, you don't want to know because it's November. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, I think there has been a lot of wonderful events and just showcasing and highlighting. And I love the fact that I'm personally with Support, I've been trying to highlight more Black LGBT British people, because I in history and some famous people, because I feel the representation there is often lacking. We so often go to America when we think of someone Black and LGBT.
I remember one of my first things I did as when I started running the Runnymede Trust. I got together Linton Kwesi Johnson and Bashi, I guess this was who's now a Hollywood actor, isn't he? But he used to bounce around, and little girls loved it.
Yeah.
But for a conversation about being a Black man across those different generations, that one, both kind of use music. And we asked the audience of year 9, name a famous Black man out of British history.
Yeah.
And it was Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And we were like, well, I'm glad you know those, glad you know those names. Then it's Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu. So where were the British? Where's memory gone of Black men in that history?
Yeah. Yeah. And will you be carrying on those sorts of conversations? And
yeah, I think it because I think it's the same conversation that we have about our current experience, which is visible and invisible at the same time, known about and not talked about, told that we're somehow part of a different system.
Okay, yeah.
And very rarely just kind of centered and asked, what is it that you need? Rather than where do you fit?
Yeah. And what kind of answers have you heard or even thought about yourself when it comes to, questions like what do Black women need?
Well, I mean, we did some research and managed to get a pretty good number of respondents, over 100, saying that it showed that we tend to be lonelier, we tend to be less connected to what's going on in terms of influencing what's going on around us. And unfortunately, most proximate to kind of drugs, alcohol, and addiction issues as well. So these things kind of overlaying, I think, just mean that the intervention is simply that we help each other not be lonely, and from that level, and so rather than look, there's a lonely group. Send no, what can we do? We've got some responsibility to each other.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's not just about, as you said, just sending people off to a group and saying, there you go, but about, engaging in the conversations, listening to what people want and what they have to say, and involving people in the decision making and in the direction organizations like BlkOut go.
Because I think ultimately we are who we serve, right? So we should do what it is that we would like to see, right? Rather than think there's a kind of work which is done over there, drafty halls with table tennis tables, or the kind of work which is done differently, and we've got a chance to do something differently. Why not do it? Why not a Vogue ball in Brixton Market? Why not? Why not a 24-hour screening of Moonlight?
Yeah.
If that's what we want to do.
Yes, 100%.
Let's come together and do it.
Oh, I love that. I think BlkOut, you're striking that perfect balance of community support, healing, but fun as well, and expressing yourself in however way you want to. Like you said, why not?
Yeah, if there's a place that you want, you have to make it.
Yes, exactly. Oh, cool. So obviously we've been talking about like the fun aspect and the listening to the community and having those conversations. You did mention about things coming up about addiction and things like that. Has BlkOut done any work or campaigning around addiction or even mental health, Black queer men?
We definitely started off with a focus on mental health, actually. With that certainly in mind, after even 6 months of kind of trying to kind of reach out and speak to people about what was possible.
Yeah.
What kept on coming up again and again was, the people who aren't in this room because of their poor mental health, or they can deal with that that kind of situation, and how could we make sure that we included more people living with poor mental health. And it's only then that it clicks when you sort of say, well, we know what the numbers are like in terms of who's seeking support from the NHS.
Yeah.
But seeing them all as individual cases, even if they were clustered, rather than seeing them as a community who could help each other and approximate to each other. So mental health first aid is the kind of thing that ought to be going on between us.
Yes, yeah.
And if existing systems aren't there, let's make them.
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful.
And so we operate the app, which has 500 odd members on it now.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that actually, because when I saw that, you have created an app, I just thought that's awesome.
It just felt like it felt like the better thing to do than moan about Grindr.
I love it.
And it's been I've learned loads about stuff I never thought I would need to know about in terms of programming and community management, etc. But hey, what it has meant is that actually, from this small acorn, if we needed to think about, putting our money where our mouths are and building our own Grindr, or a Grindr that didn't allow the kind of awful race play that goes on in those situations.
Yeah.
Then we'd have something. Then we'd have something that people could spend time on, and connect on a level which might not be Grindr.
And so could you tell us a little bit more about the app? So what is it exactly? Is it available to download?
Yeah, so it's BlkOut Hub, BlkOut Hub, and it's on both the App Store and the Play Store.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But effectively it's a membership. It's a membership space. You know, I think in my head, sometimes it's like a gentleman's club. It's got a good reference library, some people hanging out, and signposting this in the next kind of cool event.
Yeah.
And a great notice board about what's going on and what's going on in people's heads.
That's awesome, especially, you know, another fantastic way to make use of digital resources and you know, ways to reach people, because we all know everyone is about downloading apps these days. Like,
Well,
so
let's hope, right?
yeah.
It's just the idea that if we're going to spend time in this space, then why not reinvest it?
Yes.
In something. You know, to me, to be in somebody else's space complaining about it, there are other things you could do. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And how long has the BlkOut Hub been running for?
So we've been up. So we started with the pandemic lockdowns.
Yeah.
And as of November the 1st, we have realigned the app to focus in on those who've got more time to give. So you give more in the space, you get more in the space. So we've got these nice new kind of tiers of membership and engagement and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like a lodge, right? A gentleman's club, a lodge.
I love that. Digital lodge, digital gentleman's club. I love that. That's awesome. So speaking on, obviously, going on from the app, is there anything that BlkOut are currently working on or focusing on?
Yeah, so for me, it's at the stage where we need to kind of raise a significant kind of sum of money to build a kind of core team. So it's not just me dreaming in the corner.
Yeah.
You know,
How many people have you how many volunteers and staff members roughly have you?
Yeah, so we've got a great set of volunteers and a board, the 6 of us on the board, and I think I think the whole tone of our work is let's share what we've got. So
yeah,
if you're in the door, you're a volunteer.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
It would be odd otherwise, because who would we be serving?
Yeah.
You're on a level. You're not like, so yeah. Come on then.
Yeah. Get to work. Oh, that's awesome. So you were saying that you're in the process of trying to raise more funds at the moment for.
Yeah, well, just a kind of something which is a bit more sustainable. So to make that kind of leap to a physical space, maybe, or somewhere that we, somewhere which has some kind of ownership over, that we could create in. On Sunday, we're showing a film from Washington DC in the 90s, a place called the Yannick Alley Coffee House, and that little stage which had some amazing people from all over the world kind of attracted to it. This kind of Black queer cultural renaissance. That's all we want.
Yeah.
But a little space to maybe, create maybe.
And so you're showing that film in person?
Yes, we're showing that film, and we've got 2 of the stars of the film can be on a live stream from Washington straight after.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we've got Mason Jones and Christopher Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
That is, oh, wow. Oh, I really hope that, that goes well. Definitely, I hope some of our viewers check that out, able to attend, check that out. I think we've got a question here. So Mark Anthony has just said, can I join as someone that likes black men? So he was asking if he can join as someone who likes black men. Grindr is toxic.
We're going to have words. We're going to have words.
Grindr is toxic in so many respects, especially towards minorities within our minority. No blacks, no Asians. I've definitely, obviously, I don't have Grindr, but some of my gay and bi male friends have told me just about the horrific stuff that's written on there.
We take advice from all sorts of people that we live in the judgment of lots of people that we wouldn't take advice from.
Okay.
So, who are these people? Why are you setting them up in a situation where they can judge you, swipe or a flick you're better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing there? Just there are other routes, and I know it's tempting because it's quick and it's and it could be where it's popping, and there's always a great party. There's always a great party.
Yeah.
What do you need, and where are you going to get it? If you want high-end food, then it doesn't come under the golden arches. It just it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I really hope that BlkOut Hub takes off. It gets bigger than some of these apps out there, because if we can just
really
talk about it.
Really hard work.
Yeah.
I'm discovering all sorts all the time. I'm like, wow, this is really hard work, but
because you've got to delve into that, as you said, programming and all that side of things.
And just I've got a thing about the way things look, so I continue playing with images and which I think
artistically
is
perfectionist.
The artistic part of me that's been suppressed for way too long.
Yeah,
but it does mean that I'm like, oh no, this has got to look like that, and I spend a lot of time doing graphic design, which is a new thing for me. So I've learned all sorts of things.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think obviously we were talking about some of the things that BlkOut are getting into currently. I know that BlkOut currently have some merch. And a campaign around that. Would you like to speak on that a little bit? A lot.
Well, I mean, we're doing as we talked about earlier, just in terms of who we talk about in terms of our history and our history is how all history is relevant because it's the whole story, but how some things just get stuck in people's kind of popular imagination and changing entire kind of vision of what a community is or what a moment was in history. So we picked 4 icons just to talk about that post-war period in Britain where people don't imagine they were black queer people. So Ivor Cummings, who welcomed the Windrush, who chose Brixton rather than Basildon, who ended up supporting Kwame Nkrumah when he was setting up his new civil service, but was the first person of colour to work at the Foreign Office.
Yeah.
What amazing kind of people who kind of heralded, who kind of were there during the kind of dismantling of empire from a black queer perspective. We need to talk more about those people.
Yes,
Not because other people's stories aren't important, but just because it gives a different kind of flavour to the understanding of that whole period.
And so you mentioned there were 4. Was it 4 people?
Yeah, so yes, we picked 4, and we may pick another 4 like another time. But Ivor Cummings, Bertie Pasuka, we've had a memorial lecture about, but also was the first the first leader of a black dance company in Europe, just straight after World War II. Mm-hmm. Pearl Alcock and her wonderful bar, and we've been celebrating in terms of Brixton for the last 6 weeks, and Justin Fashanu,
yes,
who, well, people keep on saying things like, well, no footballers have come out, as if Justin never happened, or his life didn't exist. So what I mean is no white footballers have come out yet. But a black one did, and wasn't treated in the greatest way in response, but we tried to remain a gentleman throughout, you know.
And so people can read more about these wonderful.
Sorry, I get carried away with great stories.
No, I love it. I love it because, you know, these are things that I wasn't aware of myself. You know, I have my own personal experiences as a black queer woman, but we need to learn through stories, and together through stories. So that's wonderful. But so people can read more about
these 4 icons that we've chosen, but also we've got a design for a t-shirt and mugs, and try and popularize this kind of idea of, okay, who are these 4 names, and what do you mean you don't know, rather than expecting always to be the surprise story. Why not? Why people should know about these names?
So the mugs and the t-shirts, they have their names on it, or
so it's a block of names: Ivor, Berto, Pearl, and Justin.
Oh, wonderful.
I could probably show you.
Yes, please, if you've got one to hand. And these, you know, we can get these on your website.
Yeah, so we're just doing pre-orders now for Christmas.
Okay.
And we'll see how popular they are, and then start drop shipping from next year.
Okay. Well, whilst you're just looking for that, just if anyone's just joining us, my name's Monique. I'm the Cultural Engagement for SupportU, and I am talking to Rob from BlkOut UK, which is a community-led organisation run by and for Black queer men. And we were just talking about a recent campaign where BlkOut have chosen 4 icons to focus on, and with that there's some historical stories and some merch that he's just going to show us now. So okay, those are the t-shirts.
So simple
but effective, and it gets the conversation starting, doesn't it? And to remember them.
And you should know who they are.
Yes. Well, definitely I'll be reading up more about that. I only knew about Fashanu, but I'll definitely be reading up more on that. So that's fantastic. So we can get that merch from your website. So I'm
really fascinated as to what the experiences of Black queer men are around Reading, and how they're feeling, really. And if they know each other. Because it can be really hard when there's very few of you, and you know each other by sight or across a bar, but don't actually know each other. I think it's
yes, this is something that we're thinking a lot about and trying to start those conversations. You know, what do the Black members, members of our community want? What do they need? How can we come together? How can we support each other more? Because we have the resources, we have the experience, but definitely we just want to be able to support and reach as many people as possible.
And sometimes it matters kind of how you get stuff, not just that you get stuff.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Could you talk about that?
I don't know. So maybe it's that moment of the year also in the midst of writing those funding proposals.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
they want to say, oh, my community is this and it's terrible and it's the worst and it's and then to turn around having written that and go and look at your community in the eye and say, we can do whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, it's just an odd kind of thing that people feel like they have to kind of plead plead for mercy, when actually the process of standing up means that everybody should be standing up, not I'm nipping over here just to get on my knees for to get the money. Actually, let's yeah. Anyway, it's just
No, that's really
things that kind of at the front of your mind right now. But it's just trying to, how do I explain my community without doing down the community?
That is really, thought-provoking, that, because I have some experience myself. I have been doing some grant writing for funding for my work, and it is difficult, isn't it? As you said, how do you describe your community but not kind of
in
play
the
them
knowledge
down.
that this may be the one thing all year that this set of grant makers reads about Black queer men. You're right. So you want to write something which is truthful, which is fair, not the thing which just gets the money.
Yeah, I like that. No, it's really good to hear these experiences. But I really liked what you said, about finding out what it is. For instance, Black queer men in Reading. What do they need? How are we coming together? How do we know each other? Do they know each other? How can we create those spaces?
Have brunch.
Yeah. That's a start. That's really good. Yeah. In fact, actually, when I came to Reading, 'cause I'm from London myself, was born in Hackney, and when I came to Reading, one of the first things that I attended was an LGBT breakfast. Yeah, and I didn't know anyone. I just had my mum here, and and that I've still, I've got friends 10 years ago that I'm still in communication with and still
meant to
friends
be,
with.
right?
Yeah. So
unless you create these accidents, they won't happen, right? Sliding doors, you have to get on the train. There's a you have to do something to get the situation more likely. So come together.
Yeah, and especially when you introduce food, I just think there's something quite magical and, I don't know, healing about sharing food with another person. I was at a Black History Month event at we've got a Reading refugee support group, and they were doing a event that day, and just seeing people come together, and we had Ethiopian food, we had some Kenyan food, and the service users were actually cooking and bringing it themselves, and it was just, I had the best time. But the conversations, that's what really got me whilst we were sitting there. And
there's just something really human about it. Eating, just something really human about it. Doing it together.
Oh, so what are your plans for the future? What are BlkOut's plans? What are your hopes? What are your dreams?
Well,
as a community as
we
well.
get this. We get to do this work we do digitally in real life more often. We get to create a space in which coincidences can happen and creativity gets sparked, and we get to own the results.
Yeah, I like it. There's something very natural and organic of the way that you, I like the way that you just mentioned coincidences, just letting, having the space and just letting things flow, and what
where you
comes of
can
it.
breathe, we can and just be and see what happens. I think there's just a way in which people grow up. Being overlooked, being over surveilled in the street, being expectations being a constraint. Let's have a space where we can just let that go for a bit and see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Open to offers. I don't know what shape that building is, but if you've got a spare building that looks like it can contain that kind of power, then we're up for that.
Oh, wonderful. So yeah, please do check out BlkOut's website. We've got it up on the screen, so take note of that and check them out, because they're needed. You need to come together and to share those experiences and to build.
Yeah, and encourage people to do it. I mean, I think we know of and are part of many kind of overlapping groups.
Mm-hmm.
Just that we're having a meal, or we're just getting together for Christmas, or we're just doing something, and everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
You might save someone with that kind of activity, because the levels of alienation and despair are so high. So a little thing like that
really touched me. That really touched me, what you just said there, Rob, because I have had experiences like that where I have just started up a conversation with a stranger, and that person has later revealed that saved them that day. Just that kindness, just that, not saying that you're going out there just trying to reach every single person, but just that one person you don't know, and I've had it for me as well. Just that one connection, that human connection can really save you.
And when increasingly you're sat behind a screen or just away from each other, the coincidence of that happening, that gets limited. So
yes,
we need to rub along.
Yeah.
But that's been getting into kind of space together. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, so you mentioned, you talked about you're looking forward to a little break, just a mini break before you get back into things.
They say change is good as rest. So working on a slightly different project around the uprisings in Brixton back in the early 80s. Trying to follow and create something called a people's inquiry.
Could you speak on a bit more about that? Well, that's interesting.
Just the idea that if we wanted to, what is it we want to know about what happened? And if we were to ask those questions of the archives that exist currently, would they be able to tell us? So what they can tell us is great, and we make sure that that's recorded. What can't be told, we need to start collecting it now.
Yes.
So if we want to know it, I suspect the next generation will want to know it too.
Yeah. Oh, well, that sounds really exciting. Looking forward to hearing more about
stuff.
that.
Like, why not? Why?
Yeah.
Why do dull stuff, right?
Exactly. Every day must just be, this is your passion project. You're getting to indulge in what you're passionate about.
Time, right? So this is the payback.
Yeah. Oh wow. So we were talking a little bit before that you're getting into baking, doing a little bit of baking.
Oh, just things to take me away from the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but yeah, and for you, I mean, it seems like your very natural environment, kind of on our screen. Is this the kind of direction that you do more and more of this?
So will we be doing more conversations like this, or me?
Yeah, you. Because one of the things we've been thinking about is presence online, right?
Yes.
How we manage that. It could be really cool to know how you navigate and how you make it useful for you and not something which uses you.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, with SofaTalks, so personally, I've had, I think, three of these kind of conversations, just really trying to speak to people and hear their story and their experiences and what they're working on. It's more just and for us as an organization to learn more about people, and also to show support and to highlight other organizations that we haven't had the fortune of working with yet.
It just is a great format, and also just places to talk and to listen to each other, I think, are just so precious. So
yes,
so thank
definitely.
you for creating this one.
Oh no, thank you. I mean, we actually were able to do this because we've been given the platform by F.O.D TV. So I wonder, Lorna, are you? I wondered if you could just speak on that a little bit, because did F.O.D TV come about during the lockdown, or? Because I think it's just so wonderful. It's a platform in itself to enable members of the LGBT community to speak digitally, have their shows. It's streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and it's all for our community. So yeah, Lorna, was oh, we can't hear you, Lorna. Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, well, we might she might type something and I'll read it out. We're having such technical difficulties today. I'd say Mercury's in retrograde, but I know it's not, so I can't even blame that. Scorpio season, everything's catching fire. But yes, I mean, we as I said before, like SupportU, we have the resources and we have the experience, such fantastic stuff. We focus more on counseling, training, workplaces and schools. We do a lot of, we're a hate crime reporting center. We focus on campaigns for, regarding domestic violence and sexual abuse and things like that. Some of the, the real serious things, but we definitely recognize a need for more support and more representation with people of color, but specifically the Black LGBT plus community. And it's just really about, we really want to create that space, not own the space, not direct it, but just create it because we're able to, and to allow people to come into that space and make of it what they want. I read a quote.
But sounds like a really great range of stuff, and it sounds like just that kind of notion of enabling, a notion of trusting us.
Yes.
That we probably got it, given the support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a real leap that I think a lot of people who offer services to us might learn from.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I read a fantastic quote the other day. I probably won't be able to remember it now, but it was talking about safe spaces, and it was saying something like, shame. We can release shame in safe spaces, and that's where healing happens. And I think it's so true. It's so important. Especially like myself growing up as a Black queer, Black lesbian woman in London, if I did not, if I didn't have those spaces, those communities where I could navigate through the intersectionality of just everything that I was experiencing, as you said, just be able to breathe, just be like, oh, because sometimes you did feel a bit too Black in certain spaces and too gay in other spaces. It's like, where do I go?
So there's a place, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
we started talking about our events as braver spaces. Because there's only so much safety I can. People think coming to an event it will stay confidential forever and ever. I can't control who's around the corner and they might bump into on the train on the way home and how they. I can't.
Yeah.
All I can ask is that when you come to the space, be brave about it. Nothing going on here is bad. So
yeah,
let's be brave and actually show up rather than hiding because of the thought of what somebody might think.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, Rob, I just really want to thank you so much. I mean, the time has just flown, really. I could listen to your voice, really, all day. Has anyone ever told you you've got the most
got a great face for radio.
Calming, sultry voice ever? I mean, wow. You should, I don't know, do you have a podcast? An audio book?
Need to get to sleep. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you've got that. It's commanding, but calming as well. Fantastic. But I really just wanted to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of SupportU for joining us today, because it's important to share stories, to hear about the experiences of other members of our community, a lot of the lesser represented members of our community. And I just think the work that BlkOut are doing together with and for the community is just phenomenal. And I can't wait to see, how far you go.
Oh, thank you, and thank you, similarly, just for a great conversation.
Oh, and that's what I loved most about it. So please, everybody, check out BlkOut.com, BlkOutUK.com. We've put the website at the bottom of the screen. We've also got the link there to BlkOut Hub for anybody who'd like to download that app, because that is awesome. And yeah, so what you got planned then for the rest of the week? Relaxation?
It's brunch on Sunday, so
oh yeah,
getting ready for to welcome people to a Sunday afternoon, of a proper Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you can just breathe and just relax. Fantastic. Oh, great. Well, it's been so great having you, Rob, and we will definitely stay in touch. And if anything more comes up, any more merch or anything else that you're working on, please let me know, and I will share it with as many people as we can reach. Fantastic. Cool. Okay. Lorna, I don't know if did you want to come back at all? If you can, not sure if Lorna's internet. Hello, Lorna. We can hear you. Oh, we can hear you.
And I seem to have quite good Wi-Fi all of a sudden as well.
Just as we finished.
Just at the end.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for doing all your work in the background, Lorna.
Right.
And thanks for everybody that's been listening. Check out BlkOutUK.com, please. And let us know what we can do for Black queer men in Reading and surrounding areas. Please reach out to us.
Let each other know, yeah?
Let each other, yeah, okay. Okay. Let each other know, yeah. Okay. Well,
we're looking for facilitators for groups. So please volunteer and make a change.
Fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Good night, guys. We will speak to you soon.
Good night. I'm going to press the button to end the stream. Good night.
Okay, fantastic. Good night. Good night, Rob. Take care. Bye, everybody. See you.